A very good afternoon, grade 12s. Welcome to today's mathematical literacy lesson. My name is Mampani Kekana. The lesson is brought to you by Gauteng Department of Education in collaboration with Cybono Discovery Center and broadcast by Pakama Research and Development. So boys and girls, in today's lesson, we are going to look at volume and surface area. Okay, so we're going to look at surface area and volume. So it means at the end of this lesson, you should be able to calculate the surface area and volume of any object. So obviously in MathLit, when you see any terminology, if we're going to learn about surface area and volume, we need to know the definitions. So first thing, we're going to look at terminologies. So the first terminology is volume. We need to know what do we mean by volume. Okay, so volume is the amount of space occupied by substance in the container. Volume is the amount of space occupied by substance in the container. So remember, it is possible that in your examination or in any examination, in a test or in any formal task, they might ask you to define volume. So in this case, in simple terms, the volume is, or a volume is the amount of space occupied by substance in the container. Then we've got the next one, and most of you boys and girls, they confuse the two terminologies, the volume and capacity. So you need to be very clear. When the examiner asks for a volume or a capacity, you should be able to define any one of the two. So capacity is the maximum amount of space available to hold substance in the container. So you should see the difference. The maximum amount of space available to hold substance in the container. That is the definition of a capacity. They can even ask you to define or to differentiate between the two, volume and capacity. So you just give any one of these terminologies its definition. Right, and then the next one is total surface area, commonly known as TSA, total surface area. What do we mean when we say total surface area? Now, total surface area is the area of all faces of an object, the area of all faces of an object. So that is expressed in square units. Remember the word area. So area, it means where you see area, you must know that the unit is square meter, square centimeter, and so on and so on. Then if I take you back to the volume, okay, the unit of a volume, it can be meter cubed, centimeter cubed, okay, and so on, millimeter cubed, and so on. So, and then capacity, it can be in milliliters and kiloliters, either milliliters, kiloliters, and even liters. So just remember the units there as well. Okay, then the next terminology is, what do we mean by 3D objects? You know that if we are working with volume, capacity, total surface area, we're actually working with 3D objects. Now, what do we mean by 3D object? The definition for a 3D object is the object with length, breadth, width, and height. So a three-dimensional object is any object with length, breadth, width, and height. And then the unit for a 3-dimension, it's a cubic meter, centimeter cube, etc. That means if we are calculating volume, and then if we are calculating capacities, milliliters, kiloliters, and liters, but then for total surface area, it's going to be square units. Okay, then let us look at the formula for calculating surface area. So in MathLit, these are some of the objects that we'll be working with. Formula for surface area. Remember, boys and girls, you don't need to memorize You don't need to memorize the formulae. The formulae will be given in an examination. Okay, so the formulae will be given. What is important for you is you must be able to do the substitution. But again, it's also important to remind you about the formulae of surface, is the formulae for surface area. Okay, the first one, we've got a rectangular prism. The formula for rectangular prism is surface area is equals to 2 times area of base. Okay, so it's 2 times area of base. So in other words, if you look at this shape, the base is the bottom part. The bottom part is the base, the bottom part or the top part. So that is why this one they say 2 times area of base. So it's this one at the bottom and also the one at the top. And then it says plus area of other sides. Area of other sides. The other sides will be 1, 2, 3, 4. The other 4 sides. Okay. Area of the other side. So the faces that are on the sides. And then again, when they explain it further, it's surface area is equals to 2 times area of base plus perimeter of base multiplied by height. And then there we've got 2 times length times breadth plus 2 times length, 2 times breadth, and then multiply by height. So in the end, if you simplify it, you get, okay, let me take you back. Okay, boys and girls, we've got some problems. We'll get back to you now. 1 minute.
Double click. Don't click anything yet.
Okay.
But you.
And that's my problem.
What did you do?
No, okay, click it. And then you forward.
Oh, in 10 seconds.
You
click it to you, not away.
Yeah.
Excellence. Excellence is a habit. Excellence is a quality you have, a quality I have. It's a quality we have when we honor what is true to us. Yes, we are gifted differently. uNkulunkulu akasinganga ngokufana. Excellence is striving for your best. Whenever you have a particular project, test, homework, uzibuze, ask yourself, is this my best? Can I put in more effort? Excellence is striving to be in the top 1% of the area in which you are gifted. And so I challenge you, in every single thing that you do, in every single area that you're gifted in, whether it's sports, it's academic, ucula, whatever that gift is, strive for excellence.
Okay, welcome back, boys and girls. I'm sorry about that. Let us continue. We were still busy with the formula for surface area, and then I was still explaining the formula for calculating surface area of a rectangular prism. Then we've got a cube. Remember, a cube is a shape where all the faces are square, and then the formula for calculating surface area of a of a cube, it's 6s squared or 6 sides squared. So that means it is the area of one side or one face, and then we multiply by 6. Then again, we've got the cylinder. The formula for calculating surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. So there we've got important formulae there. Okay, so do not worry about memorizing the formula. The formula will be given in the in any assessment or in an examination. Again, remember that when you use the value of pi, if you have to substitute the value of pi is always 3,142. Right, and then for volume, the formulae for volume. In this case, the formula for rectangular prism, volume of a rectangular prism, or the formula for calculating volume of a rectangular prism is length times breadth times height. And then for a cube, we take one side, we make it to the power of 3. So side by side by side. But again, what is important there is you just need to know how to do the substitution. Then for a cylinder, the formula for calculating volume of any cylinder is pi r squared h. Pi r squared h, and then the pi is 3,142. And then remember the unit, the volume, the unit of a volume is millimeter cubed, centimeter cubed, meter cubed. And then when we come to capacity, we are going to have liters or milliliters. Right. Then, boys and girls, whenever you do the calculations, these are some of the common errors that some of you are making. So whenever you do the calculation, please make sure that you avoid these errors. Okay. The common errors is most of the learners do not convert the units. Look at this one. They say, always make sure that the units of measurement are the same before doing any calculation. Always make sure that the units of measurement are the same before doing any calculation. For instance, if you have to calculate volume of a rectangular prism, we say length times breadth times height. And then we have to make sure that the value of the length and the value of the breadth, the value of the height, the three of them are in the same unit. So if they say the answer must be in centimeter cubed or cubic centimeter, we have to ensure that the length, the breadth, and the height are in centimeters. If they say the answer must be in meter cubed or cubic meter, then we have to make sure that the length, the breadth, and the height, all of them are in meters. Okay, so you have to check that before you do the substitution, all the values or all the dimensions are in the same unit. Then, in a case where you are given a diameter and then you have to substitute a radius, the case where you are given a diameter, you have to substitute the radius. Make sure that you change the diameter to radius by dividing by 2. We always say radius is equals to diameter divided by 2. So if you want to determine the value of a radius, you take the diameter, you divide it by 2, or you just multiply by half. Okay, then if, for instance, you need to work out the diameter, then that is where you take the radius, you multiply by 2. So just remember that, boys and girls. Then the third one is, remember the value of pi will always be given. Okay, so the value of pi is 3,142. So you don't use pi straight from your calculator. If they say use the value of pi as 3,142, then you must use that 3,142. Okay, and then they say when dealing with semicircle, remember to divide the formula. Okay, when dealing with semicircle, remember to divide the formula. Let's say, for instance, you have to calculate the volume of half of a cylinder. Okay, if you have to calculate the volume of half of a cylinder, so what you do is you just take the very same formula, but you divide it by 2. Like for instance, we know that the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. Okay, that is for a full cylinder. But then if they say of a half of a cylinder, then you divide this by 2. So this will, if you divide it by 2, you get the formula for a volume of a cylinder. Okay, then let us look at the activities from surface area and volume. Surface area and volume. So the first question, the question was taken from the question paper, June 2022 supplementary. So that is the paper which was written recently. And then that was question 1.2. So question 1.2 was the sketch alongside shows a standard brick with dimensions used in South Africa. Use the information alongside to answer the questions that follow. Then A, State which formula A, B, or C below can be used to calculate the total surface area of the given brick. State which formula A, B, or C below can be used to calculate the total surface area of the given brick. So it means this is a multiple choice question. Remember, boys and girls, if you are given a multiple choice question, it's not all about guessing, but you have to check which one is actually the correct answer. You don't guess. Okay, let us look at the possible answers. They say TSA brick, that means the total surface area of the brick is area of front face. Now remember, the formula or the definition of surface area, total surface area, it is the area of all the faces, the total area of all the faces. That means you take all the faces, you take the area of all the faces, you add them together. Okay, so let us look at this. How many faces does the brick have? The brick has got 6 faces. So the total surface area must be the sum of all the faces. If we look at this one, this is a rectangle. So this one is a rectangle. That one is also a rectangle. The one on the other side is also a rectangle. So we've got 6 faces in total. So we have to check. Total surface area, in this case, the first one is the area of front face. So according to this one, is area of front face, which is this, plus area of right hand side, which is this one, plus area of top, which is that one. So according to the first option, it's the sum of 3 faces. It's this one in front, this one on the right hand side, and the other one on top. So you can see immediately that this is not correct. And then we go to B. B says 2 times 240 times 70. Okay, so it's 2, this one, it means there's 2 of them, and then it's 240 multiplied by 70. 240 multiplied by 70, we've got 240, which is this side, multiplied by 70, which is there, is 70. But the very same 70 is equals to that. So actually, this part, it's the area of this face. 240 multiplied by 70 is the area of the front face. But remember, there's 2 of them, so it's this one and the one on the other side. So it was 2 faces. Then when you go to the next one, is 240 multiplied by 112. So 240 multiplied by 112. So there's 112. 240 multiplied by 112. So that means it is the area of the bottom face, the area of the bottom face, but the bottom face is the same as the top face. So that is why it's 240 multiplied by 112, which is for the bottom, and then from there we multiply by 2, so it's 2 of them. It's this one at the bottom and the other one on top. Okay, and then we've got the next one is 112 multiplied by 70. So 112 multiplied by 70. So it's this side multiplied by the height. So in other words, it's this side plus the other side. So there's 2 of them. But in the end, you've got 2 here, you've got 2 here, and you've got 2 there. So you've got 6. Right? So let's check. So this looks correct. But we can also confirm that by looking at the third one. The third one is 240 multiplied by 70. So 240 multiplied by 70 is this one multiplied by that, but it's only this side. And 240 multiplied by 112, 240 multiplied by 112 is only the bottom face. And then 112 multiplied by 70, it's only this side on the right hand side. So if you look at this one, it's only the total area of 3 faces. So this one is not correct. So therefore, our correct answer here is B. Okay, correct answer is B. Right, let's go to the next question. Okay, still under the same context, is state the unit of measurement for the volume of this brick. Okay, so now let us look at this. Unit of measurement. So what will be the unit of volume? If you had to calculate volume in this case, boys and girls, what will be the unit in the end? Okay, now we check. All the dimensions are in millimeters. This is in millimeters, this is in millimeters, and that one is also in millimeters. There's the confirmation. Everything is in millimeters. So it means for this one, the unit of measurement for this will be millimeter cubed. Okay, the unit is millimeter cubed. Remember, boys and girls, what you can do in this case, if you have to multiply, you just multiply the values, and then in the end you get the answer. But remember, everything is in millimeters, therefore it's going to be millimeter cubed or cubic millimeters. Right, and then the next question, question 2, this was taken from KZN Prelim Paper 2, September 2021, and that was question 3. Boys and girls, remember this is for in case if you want to refer, and then remember that this question was taken from the prelim question paper of 2021 KZN, and it was question 2. Okay, the question reads thus: is Kwenze is a florist and uses vases below for her flower arrangements. Table 1 alongside shows the diagram of 2 vases. Both vases have a solid glass base of 1 centimeter in height. Okay, so they say both vases has a solid glass base. So right there at the bottom of each glass, it's solid, and the thickness of that solid is 1 centimeter. Then they say use the information in table 1. Okay, use information in the table to answer the following questions. Then question 2A, it's determine the height of water in the vase for option 1 if it is filled right to the top. Determine the height of water in the vase for option 1 if it is filled right to the top. Okay, then if you look at option 1, okay, there's option 1. So now think about the amount of water inside. Okay, so the amount of water will only fill up to this level. Okay, because the inside of the glass is only up to this point. That is the height of the glass inside. Okay, so it means the amount of water will start from this point heading up to the top. If we look at the information, they say radius of vase is 2.65 centimeters. The base height, it means that thickness there at the bottom, it's 1 centimeter. Total height of vase is 15 centimeters. Total height, it means the total height from outside. The total height from outside is 15, from the top right to the bottom. Now, how do we determine the height of water? It means the height of water will be, so height of water will be equals to, then we take the total height, which is 15, and then we subtract 1 centimeter. So it's 15 minus 1. You can indicate 15 centimeters minus 1 centimeter, but in the end, the answer is 14 centimeters. Easy, boys and girls. It's just a matter of subtracting there. So it's 15, then you subtract the thickness there, which is 1 centimeter. The answer is 14 centimeters. Okay, then that's a question, the first question. And then B, Kwenze stated that option 2 has exactly 2 times the capacity of option 1. Verify with calculations. If her statement is correct, you may use the formula. Okay, now again, boys and girls, if the examiner says you may use the formula, we advise you to please use the formula. Now, what are we answering here? What are we trying to answer here is Kwenze stated that option 2 has exactly 2 times the capacity of option 1. Now remember, if you have to calculate capacity, the first thing that must come into your mind is volume. We start with volume. Okay, we know that capacity will be in milliliters or liters, but in this case, we can just calculate the volume. Right, then if we calculate volume of option 1, okay, or we can start with option 2. So for option 2, we do the substitution. First thing, we have to be sure that the value of the length, the value of the breadth, and the value of the height, all of them are in the same unit. Now, what is our length? Our length is 9 centimeters. Okay, our breadth is 4,75 centimeters. And then our height, okay, now we need to be careful, okay? We need to be careful, but because the information that is given there is the total height of vase is 15 centimeters, but they say the capacity. So we want to know the space inside. So for the space inside, we can use the height from outside, okay? We can use the height from outside. So we have to use the height from inside. So in this case, we have already calculated in the previous question that the thickness there is 1 centimeter. So therefore our height will be, the whole of this is 15. Then we subtract 1. So inside it's 14 centimeters as well. It's just 15 minus 1. So the height is 15 minus 1. So h is 14 as well. So it's just 15 minus 1. Okay, now we've got all our information, and then everything is in centimeters. So you should know that obviously in the end, if everything is in centimeters, that means our answer will be in cubic centimeters. Let us do the substitution. So it's 9 times 4.75 times 14. 9 multiplied by 4.75 times 14. Okay, then if you use your calculator, please make sure that you use your calculator all the time. So it's 9 times 4.75 times 14. Okay, 4 times 4.75, then we get 598. $498.5 cubic centimeters. Okay, 598. So I just say 9 times 4.75 times 14. Then it's indeed 598.5 cubic centimeters. Okay, now let's check volume of a cylinder. So we're going to use the volume of a cylinder. For this, we do the substitution. The value of pi, it's already been substituted. So we say 3,142 multiplied by, first thing, what is our R? Okay, if you look at the information that is given there, our radius is 2,65. So radius is 2,65 centimeters. And then our height is 14 centimeters, not 15. Okay, the height is from outside. I mean, the height of the base is from outside, but in this case, because we're looking for capacity, we're looking for the amount of space inside, that is why we're using 14. We can do the substitution, then it's 2,65 squared, and then we times by 14. Okay, then use your calculator. So it's 3,142, right, in the open bracket, 2,65, close the bracket, and then you make it to the power of 2, then you times by 14. So there I get 308. 308 multiplied, 308.905. Okay, so if you just key in everything as you see there, 3,142 times, then you open bracket, you say 2,65, close the bracket, make it to the power of 2 and multiply by 14. And then on your calculator, it must give you 308,90573. Okay, so this is in cubic centimeters. Right, then now you need to compare. Okay, you need to compare. Remember, Kwenze stated that the option 2 has exactly 2 times the capacity of option 1. Okay, option 2, so this is our option 2. Okay, then this is our option 1. So when they say it has exactly 2 times, so it means option 1 can go into option 2 exactly 2 times. So we have to do this the division. Let's check how many times does this volume go into. So you want to check. So we say 598.5 divided by 308.90575. Okay, you take the whole value, you don't round off there. Okay, 598.5. So it means if it is exactly 2 times, it means when we divide, we must get exactly 2. Okay, if we don't get exactly 2, it means it's not exactly 2 times. So let's check. So if you take 598.5 divided by 308.90575, then I get 1.937. If you check on your calculator, it must be 1,937484168. So you can see this value, it's not exactly 2. Of course, remember when you round it off, you're going to get 2, all right? But rounding off, remember, it's an estimation, okay? Okay, so this one is 1,937. It's not exactly 2. So the question is, verify with calculations if her statement is correct. You may use the formula, but we have used the formula in this case, but we can see that it is not exactly 2. So we can say the statement in this case is not correct. Okay, we say it's not correct because it's not exactly 2 times more than the other one. Okay, so you had to do the calculations, and then after that you divide, you check if it goes twice. Then in this case it doesn't go exactly 2 times. Okay, so that is that, boys and girls, for number B. Okay, then the next question is question 3. Okay, remember, boys and girls, if you want to interact with us, remember to use the WhatsApp number 082-760-2630. So it appears on our screen as well. 082-760-2630. Okay, that is if you want to interact with us or you want clarity on anything. There's one of my colleagues waiting to respond to your WhatsApp messages. Okay, then question 3. This one was taken from one of the Western Cape prelim papers. 2019, it was question 3. Right, the information is given. It's Talia packs a cooler bag for the road. She puts 2 6-pack cans in the cooler bag. 2 6-pack cans fit exactly on top of each other in the cooler bag. A can has a diameter of 6 centimeters, that's indicated, and height of 8.84. There's the height. So it means in this case, when they say 2 6-pack cans fit exactly on top, so it means if it's this one, so if you put another one on top, this will fit exactly in the bag. Okay. Right, then we've got the following information. Pi is 3,142. We've got volume is equals to pi multiplied by radius squared multiplied by height. And then volume is length times breadth times height. And then you must also take note that 1 centimeter cubed is equals to 1 milliliter. Okay, so you need to check this information, all this information, because you might need some of them while you're doing or you're answering the questions here. Okay, then let us look at the first question. The Hermanus High School Hiking Club decided to go and do the Fish River Canyon Hiking Trail in Namibia. On their route, they first visited the Ograbis Waterfall near Uppington. Then A is calculate the volume of 1 can of cold drink rounded to the nearest whole number. Okay, so calculate the volume of 1 can of cold drink. So you don't only calculate the volume, but you're also going to round it off. Right, then let's see. To calculate the volume, let's check the information that is given. For a can, the shape of a can is a cylinder. So we have to take that formula. Volume is equals to pi. Okay, volume is equals to pi times radius squared times height. Okay, it's very important that you rewrite the formula, boys and girls, and make sure that you have rewritten the correct formula. So there is pi times radius squared times height. Now let's check. We need to substitute pi. We know the value of pi is 3,142. But do we know what the radius is? If we look at the information, the radius is not given, but what is given is the diameter. So it means now we need to take this diameter, which is 6 centimeters. We divide it by 2. This will give us the radius. So in this case, our radius will be, this must be 3. Okay, so 6 centimeters divided by 2 will give us 3. So this must be 3. And then let us look at the height. Do we know what the height is? The height is given there, 8,84. 8,84 is our height. Is everything in the same unit? Our radius, of course, will be in centimeters, and then our height is also in centimeters. So now we can do the substitution. 3,142 times, open the bracket for the radius. The radius we said is 3. Then we square it. Then we multiply by the height, which is 8,84. Okay. Never mind the unit. You don't necessarily have to substitute the unit as well, because in this case, whatever you have substituted, you know that the radius is in centimeters and the height is also in centimeters. So in the end, you should know that your answer will be centimeter cubed. So if you use your calculator, 3,142, then you multiply by 3, square it, you multiply by 8,84, 8,84. Then we get 249. 249,97752. Okay, I think, boys and girls, it's always better to first rewrite the answer as is. Okay, remember we have answered the first part of the question there where they say calculate the volume. So there's our volume, but we haven't answered the question completely, because there's a second part of the question where they say rounded to the nearest whole number. To the nearest whole number, you know about the rounding, 249,9. So the moment the first digit after the comma is 5 or more, this will change to the higher number. So this will become 250. So it's 250 cubic centimeters. That's our solution. But if this number, the first digit after the comma, was less than 5, was any number less than 5, it means we're going to keep this as 249. Okay, I'm sure you know the rules of rounding, boys and girls. Okay, so that is the answer for question 3A. And then question 3B. Write down the capacity of 1 can of cold drink in milliliters. Okay, write down the capacity of 1 can of cold drink in milliliters. Now, you remember that from the previous answer, we got the volume is 250 cubic centimeters. Okay, that is from the previous answer. 250 cubic centimeters. Now, capacity. Okay, and then this one, they indicate the capacity in milliliters. Do we have a conversion factor there? There, it's clear. 1 cubic centimeter is equals to 1 milliliter. So if it's 1 cubic centimeter, that will give us 1 milliliter. If it's 2, it's going to give us 2 milliliters. If it's 5, it's going to give us 5 milliliters. If it's 100, it's going to give us 100 milliliters. So if it's 250 cubic centimeters, therefore this will give us 250 milliliters. Simple as that. You don't even have to do the calculations in this one person guys. It's just a matter of converting. One of this is equals to one of that. So it's 100. If it's 100, that will be 100. If it's 300, that will also be 300. Right. Easy as that. Let us move on to the next question. Okay, still the same question. Question 3 from Western Cape, Prelim Paper 1, 2019. If you want to refer, that is question 3. Then they say calculate the height of the cooler bag rounded to the nearest whole number. So again, we are going to calculate and we are also going to round off. Okay, calculate the height of the cooler bag rounded to the nearest whole number. Now, what information is given? Okay, what are we given there for a cooler bag? Okay, if you look at the information, nothing is indicated there. Okay, nothing is indicated. So we have to calculate the height of the cooler bag rounded to the nearest whole number. Okay, so for the height of the cooler bag, what we have to do is, so we've got volume equals to length, okay, multiplied by breadth, multiplied by height. So this is actually the formula for calculating volume. But is it going to help us with anything? Not really. So the volume equals to length multiplied by breadth multiplied by height. We don't have enough information there. Okay, so now we have to think. There's an information that is given there. They say Talia packs a cooler bag for the road. She put 2 6-pack cans in the cooler bag. 2 6-pack cans fit exactly on top of each other in the cooler bag. Fit exactly. So it means if I put another pack, then I'm going to have 2 layers. So I'm going to have 2 layers. So the 2 layers, it means it's going to be 1 can and then another can on top of the bottom can. So it means it's going to be 8.84 and then another 8.84. So 8.84 plus another 8.84. So that means 2 heights of a can will give us the height of the cooler bag. So the height of the cooler bag, this is not going to help us with anything. So we just say height, it's equals to 8.84 plus 8.84. Or if you want to, you can say 2 times 8.84. Okay, you still get the same answer. So if you take 8.84 plus 8.84, then this will give us 17.68. 17.68 centimeters. That is the height of the cooler bag, but they say rounded to the nearest whole number. Again, to the nearest whole number, when we round off, it's either this will remain the same or change to the higher number. The first digit after the comma is 5 or more. Okay, so if it's 5 or more, this will change to the higher number, so it becomes 18 centimeters. So 18 centimeters is actually the height of the cooler bag because 2 packs will fit exactly. So it's going to be 18. So the formula there was not going to help us with anything. Okay, then the next question is calculate the volume of the cooler bag if the breadth of the bag is 12 centimeters and the length is 18 centimeters. Calculate the volume of the cooler bag if the breadth of the bag is 12 centimeters and the length is 18 centimeters. There we've got the volume information. So we know that the formula is length times breadth times height. Okay, length times breadth times height. Anyway, the formula is given there. Just a matter of rewriting it. Okay, let's check. Do we have everything? Do we have the length? Okay, let's check. They say the length is 18 centimeters. Yes, we've got the length. Do we have the breadth? Yes, they say the breadth is 18 centimeters. Sorry, the breadth is 12 centimeters. Okay, do we know the height? No, we don't know the height, but remember, this is the continuation. If you look at the previous question, we have already calculated the height. We have already calculated the height in the previous because the height of the cooler bag will now be the height of 2 cans. So it's 1 can and then another can on top. So we also said it's 18 because it was 8.84 multiplied by 2 and then we call it 17.68 and then we did round it off to 18. Okay, so when we do the substitution, again, we have to make sure our length is in centimeters, correct? Our breadth is in centimeters, correct? And then our height, the one that we calculated in the previous question, which is 70, which was 17.68, and it became 18. So it's also in centimeters. Remember, this is what I said, that before you do the substitution, just ensure that everything is in the same unit. So our length is 18, our breadth is 12, and then our height is 18. Okay, then we say 18 multiplied by 12 multiplied by 18, then we get 3,888. 3,888. And then what is our unit? The length, the breadth, and the height are in centimeters. So therefore our volume will be centimeter cubed or cubic centimeters. Okay, boys and girls, so far so good. If you've got any question, please interact with us. Okay, you can send us a WhatsApp message, 082-760-2630. 082-760-2630. Okay, I hope so far everything is going well. And then now we can move on to the next question. So the next question is question 4, which is also taken from one of the question papers in Western Cape, paper 1, September 2019, and that was question 3.2. Okay, the question is, Cornel is very tall and made a tent with specific measurements indicated alongside. So there we've got the measurements. Then calculate the amount of material that is needed to make the tent. The ground cloth is attached to the structure of the tent. Now let's check measurements indicated alongside. We've got the length. So if you look at the shape, this is a triangular prism. The triangular prism, we've got the length of the triangular prism is 2,45, and it's in meters. Then we've got the breadth, which is 1,75. We've got the slant height. The slant height, it means it's the skewed height, that one. Remember, if you've got a triangle, there you've got 3 heights there. So the middle one, it's a perpendicular height because there's an angle of 90 degrees there. And this one is what we call the slant height, the skewed ones. So that one is, or those ones are 1,737 meters each. Then the perpendicular height, as I said, is 1,5 meters. So all the dimensions here are in the same unit. Everything is in meters. Okay, let's see. They say you may use the formula. Then once again, if the examiner says you may use the formula, boys and girls, we advise you to use the formula, to always use the formula. Then the formula is clear. What you need to do is to make sure that you substitute. You substitute the values at the correct position. We've got 2, it's open bracket, length times length height, plus length multiplied by breadth, then plus base multiplied by perpendicular height. So we do the substitution. Make sure that you substitute the correct value at the correct position. Before we do the substitution, let us ensure that the units are the same. Like I said, everything is in meters. If one of them was in centimeters or one of them was in millimeters, we're going to convert. But in this case, luckily, everything is in the same unit. If I do the substitution, I say 2, then I open bracket. What is our length? Our length is 2,45. 2,45. Then you don't necessarily have to substitute the unit. Then we say multiply by our slant height. This slant height or this one obviously is the same as that one. So it's 1,737. You substitute the value exactly as is, 1,737. Then you close the bracket as the formula is as indicated there. Then plus, then we open bracket again, its length. So obviously it's the same length, so it's 2,45. So it's 2,45 multiplied by the breadth. So it means we'll calculate the area of the bottom side. So it's 2,45 multiplied by the breadth. Okay, so this must be 2,45 multiplied by, so it must be multiplied by the breadth, which is 1,75. Okay, 2,45 multiplied by 1,75 and then plus. Okay, the next one is open bracket. What is our base? There is B, the base. It's 1,75. Okay, so you can see that for this one, what do we mean by the base? Because if you look at the base and the breadth, the base and the breadth have got the same value. Okay, because if you look at the triangle, that 1,75 is the base of the triangle. Okay, the base of the triangle, but it's also the breadth of the bottom face. Okay, that bottom rectangle of the tent, it's in rectangular form. So if that is the rectangle, it means this is the breadth and that is the height. So this part is the breadth of the bottom rectangle, but it's also the base of the triangle. So we say 1,75 and then multiply by perpendicular height. Okay, perpendicular height, there it is, it's indicated from outside, from the most bottom of the triangle to the most top of the triangle. Okay, then that is the perpendicular. We multiply by 1.5. Okay, then there's our substitution. Okay, it's up to you. You can calculate everything right away, or you can do it step by step. But I think it's always safer to do everything step by step. So you do part by part, and then let's see. So this one we can have 2. Okay, then inside the bracket you have 2.45. 2.45 multiplied by 1.737. So this will give you 2. It's actually 2, and then you get 4.25565, and then plus. So this one 2.45 multiplied by 175. 2.45 multiplied by 1.75, then I get 4.2875 plus 1.75 multiplied by 1.5, and then this is 2.625. Okay, these two have already been simplified, so there we still have to simplify it further. It's 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 4.25565. So it's 2 multiplied by 4.25565, and then the answer is 8.5113. So we still have to add 4.2875 plus 2.625. Then there we can get our final answer. We get 8.5113 plus 4.2875 plus 2.625. The answer is 15.4238. Okay. Right, let's check if we have answered. The question was calculate the amount of material that is needed. So the amount of material, we had to use the formula that is given, surface area, and then in the end we get 15,4238. Now what is our unit? What are we calculating here? Boys and girls, we are calculating an area. So, but all the dimensions, all the values there are given in meters. So therefore the answer is meter squared. So the answer is 15,4238. Okay, 15,4238. In this question, okay, the examiner didn't say anything about rounding. Okay, didn't say anything about rounding. So it means even if you stop there, the answer will still be acceptable. because if you check the context, they say the amount of material. But if you want to round it off, if you have to round it off, if you round it off to 1 decimal place, it's going to be 15,4. Okay. If you round it off to 2 decimal places, 15,42. Okay. If you round it off to 3 decimal places, 15,24 will be the answer, because the examiner can ask you to round off to any number of decimal places. Okay, so you must know the rounding, but in this case you can still simply say it's 15 square meters. That will also be correct. That is if you round it off to the nearest whole number. Okay, then we've got the next question, question 5. Question 5 was taken from Northwest Prelim Paper 2, that was September 2021, and then this was question 4.2. So Northwest Prelim Paper 2, September 2021, and it was question 4.2. Let us look at this. The question is, or the information that is given here is, the cylindrical can is made from alumina. So that alumina is an aluminum and trace amounts of other metals. So the cylindrical can is made from alumina material that costs 22.50 including VAT per dozen. Okay, per dozen of cans. Use the information in the diagram and picture to answer the questions that follow. Okay, so this one, material that costs 22.50 including VAT per dozen of cans. So dozen, remember, means 12. Okay, then the question is, calculate the total surface area of the can. Calculate the total surface area of the can. Now again, luckily in this case the formula is given. The examiner says you may use the formula, but we are going to use the formula. Right, let's check what is given here. The question just says calculate the total surface area of the can. It doesn't specify the unit, so whatever units are given there, we're going to leave them as they are, unless if one of the values or some of the values have got different units. Let's look at this. Our height is in millimeters. Our diameter is in millimeters as well. Let's check it, what we have to substitute. The value of pi, yes, is 3,142 is given. The radius, do we know the radius there? No, we don't have the radius, but we've got the diameter. So how do we get our radius? Radius is diameter divided by 2, so it's 65 divided by 2. Then if you take your calculator, you say 65 divided by 2, then you get 32.5. So it's 32.5 millimeters. Okay, then let us look at the next one that we need to substitute. So we know the radius. Then what about that radius? It's the same one. It's the very same radius. Okay, then we also have height. Okay, do we know what the height is? Our height is 112 millimeters. So we've got everything that we're supposed to substitute there. And then everything is in the same unit. The radius is in millimeters and the height is in millimeters. So do the substitution. 2 times 3,142 and then times. The radius is 32,5. So we say 32,5. Then we times. Open bracket. Inside the bracket, it must be the radius, which is 32.5, plus the height, which is 112. Here's the bracket. Now let's see, we need to simplify. Okay. Simplification. According to our BODMAS rule, we need to simplify the brackets first. So we can rewrite this 2 times 3,142 times 32.5 and then times. Then inside the bracket, we've got 32.5. Remember, it's addition there, boys and girls. That is addition, not multiplication. You don't change. If it's addition, you keep it as addition. You don't change it to multiplication. So it's 32.5 0.5 plus 112, 112. So 112, then we get 144.5. So 144.5. That is addition. So 32.5 plus 112 is 144.5. Then now, let's see, we just need to multiply. 2 times 3.142 times 32.5, and then now times 144.5. So it's 2 times 3.142 times 32.5 times 144.5. Okay, I get very big number, 29,511,235. Okay, 29,511,235. Remember our unit? What will be our unit in this case? So our unit will be millimeter squared. The surface area, it must be a unit squared, then it's millimeter squared. Okay, so far so good. So that is the answer for question 5A. Again, the examiner did not specify the rounding. So if you decide to round off, please make sure that you round off correctly. So for this one, if I can remind you about the rounding, it's 29,511,235. If you round it off to one decimal place, it's going to be 2. If you round it off to 2 decimal places, it's going to be 24. Okay, then if you round it to 3 decimal places, it's already 3 decimal places. If you round it out to the nearest whole number, then it's going to be 29,511, not 512. It would be 512 if the first digit after the comma was 5 or more. So this one, we can leave the answer as is, or you can round it off. Okay, then still on the very same question, Northwest, it's taken from Northwest Prelim Paper 2, September 2021, and then this was question 4.2. Then the cylindrical can is made from alumina, okay, material that costs 22.50, including VAT, per dozen of cans. Use the information in the diagram and picture to answer the question that follow. Calculate the cost, excluding VAT, of the alumina material needed for a dozen of cans. Okay, so for this one, they say excluding VAT. Okay, now remember our VAT rate. So the VAT rate is 15%. Okay, remember always VAT rate is 15%. Now it's very important to know, boys and girls, that whenever you're given any value, what do they mean when they say it's including VAT? What do they mean when they say it's excluding VAT? Okay, now if you remember the following, let's say you've got any amount. Okay, if you've got any amount that is excluding VAT, any amount excluding VAT, then now you want to change it to a VAT amount. You want to know what the VAT amount is. If I've got an amount and they say this amount is excluding VAT, and then I want to add VAT amount. So how am I going to calculate the VAT amount? So this one, if I just need the VAT amount, if I need the VAT amount, I'll multiply by 15 over 100. That is if I need the VAT amount. If I want to add VAT, I'm just going to multiply by 15 over 100, and then I will know what value must be added. If I've got an amount excluding VAT, okay, the very same one, they say this amount is excluding VAT. Then let us calculate the amount including VAT. So now we say an amount including VAT. Now you want to know what is the amount including VAT. There is more than one way of doing it, okay? But the easiest one is just to take the amount, which is whatever amount is given. You say 115 over 100. So you multiply by 115 over 100, or you can say multiply by 115%. The same thing with the previous one, you can just multiply by 15%. But we know that 15% is the same as 15 over 100. Okay? Then if you've got an amount that is including VAT, now you've got an amount that is including VAT. Then from this one, now you want to know what the VAT amount will be. If the VAT is already included, but now you just need to know the VAT amount. Remember that one you multiply by 15 over 115. So it's 15 over 115. And then if you've got an amount including VAT, then now from an amount including VAT, now I want to calculate an amount excluding VAT. An amount excluding VAT. So amount excluding VAT, that is where you multiply by, it is the opposite of this one. Okay, you multiply by 100 over 115. You do the opposite. Now let us look at what is given in this question. We are given 22 Rand 50, and then they say this 22 Rand 50 is including VAT per dozen. Now they say calculate the cost excluding VAT. So between all this, the four formula or the formula, which one are we going to use? We are given this, then we need to change it to excluding VAT. So it means we just take 22 Rand 50, and then we multiply by 100 over 115. So if you use your calculator, 22.5 multiplied by 100 over 115. So the answer is 19.565 and so on. 19,565,21739 is what I get. But remember, when we calculate value of money, even if the examiner doesn't specify, we need to know that we should always round off to 2 decimal places. Okay, 2 decimal places. So this one, the examiner did not specify, but we know that is the value of money. Therefore, it must be rounded off to 2 decimal places, which is 0.57. 19,57. Could have kept the 56, but the digit next to it is 5 or more, so therefore this becomes 57. If the third digit was less than 5, this would remain as 0.56. Okay, so that is the answer for question 5. And remember this one, they say material needed for a dozens of cans, but remember the 22 Rand 50 was already for a dozen. Okay, 22 Rand 50 was already for a dozen, so we don't even multiply by 12 or something. Okay, so it's just 19 Rand 57. Okay, then the next question. This one was taken from Limpopo Province, prelim paper 2, September 2021, and it was question 3. Okay. So they say for this one, below are 2 types of pillars and their dimensions. So it's Jim makes concrete pillars for houses and sells them to community. The pillars are both in cylindrical and rectangular shape. Cylindrical, you can see that this one is in the form of a rectangular prism, and that one is in the form of a cylinder. Then they say study the information and the pictures of the respective concrete pillars alongside and answer the questions that follow. A, determine the diameter of the cylinder or cylindrical concrete pillar. Okay, determine the diameter of the cylindrical concrete pillar. Now we have to check the information. The cylindrical is this one. The information that is given there is height is 210 centimeters, radius is 22 centimeters, and then 1 cubic meter is equals to 1 million cubic centimeters. And then we've got again 1 liter is equals to 1,000 cubic centimeters. So you just need to check because you might need some, if not all, of this information to answer the next questions as well. Okay, now for cylindrical, they say diameter, but we see that here we are given the radius. And we know that, okay, for diameter, it must be 2 times 2 multiplied by the radius. always. Radius, it's diameter divided by 2, but diameter is 2 multiplied by radius. So therefore we get diameter is equals to 2 multiplied by 22, and then this becomes 44 centimeters. Okay, so easy. We just had to take the radius which is given, then we multiply by 2, we get the answer. Okay, then the next question. Okay, still on the very same question 6, taken from the Limpopo province 2021, still question 3. Then they say calculate the area of the top of circle of cylindrical concrete pillar. Okay, calculate the area of the top of circle of cylindrical concrete pillar. Okay, they say you may use the formula area of, this is supposed to be circle. Okay, not a circle, but a circle. Then the formula is pi multiplied by radius squared, and then where pi is 3,142. The area of the top of circle. The area of the top of circle of cylindrical concrete. So there we've got a circle, then we need to calculate the area. It's just like calculating area of any circle. So we say 3,142. If we do the substitution, then times, do we know the radius? Okay, the radius is given there, is 22. So it's 22 squared. Then 3,142. So we say 3,142 multiplied by 22 squared. 3,142 multiplied by 22 squared. So the answer is 1,520,728. Okay, 728. Remember now our unit, we need to check. Our radius is in centimeters, so therefore our area will be in centimeter squared or square centimeter. That is 1,520,7287 centimeter squared. Okay, again, very important to first write down the original answer, and then after that, if you decide to round off, you can also round off, but the examiner in this case does not specify. So 1,520. Again, if you decide to round off, just make sure that you round off correctly. Then the next question, question 6, still from the same paper from Limpopo province. It's determine the perimeter of the base, that means the bottom of the rectangular concrete pillar. Rectangular concrete pillar. So there's the rectangular concrete pillar. Then they say you may use the formula perimeter of square. Okay, for that one, the examiner says determine the perimeter of the base of the rectangular concrete, but we know that the bottom part and the top part of the pillar are in the form of a square. So that is why the formula is given there. So perimeter of a square is 2 open bracket length plus breadth, close the bracket. Remember, you don't change the addition to multiplication. The only thing that you have to do is just to substitute. Okay, let's see. Do you know what the length is? Let's check. The length is given is 40 centimeters. The breadth is also 40 centimeters. Okay, the breadth is also 40 centimeters. Okay, then we can do the substitution. So perimeter is equals to P of square. It's 2 open bracket. The length is 40. The breadth is also 40. Okay. Then when you add, you get 2 open bracket, and it's 80. Then you get 160 centimeters. Okay, both the length and the breadth are in the same unit, so in the end the answer is 160 centimeters. Okay, so that is the answer for question 6C. Then D It's calculate the surface area of a cylindrical concrete pillar. The cylindrical concrete pillar is this one, where the information is given. Then they say you may use the formula where pi is 3,142. Then the formula is 2 times pi times radius times height, and then plus 2 times pi times radius squared. Okay, so it must be 2 times pi times radius squared. The square is supposed to be there. Okay, 2 times pi times radius squared. Then we do the substitution. Let's check. Let us check if we've got all the information. We know the value of pi. We know the radius. Okay, the radius there is 22. We know the height. The height is 210. And then in the other part of the formula, we've got 2 times. The pi is the same. And then the radius, we're still using the very same radius. Okay, so let us do the substitution. We say equals to surface area of a cylinder. It's 2 times, okay, so it's open bracket, or let's just say 2 times 3,142 times the height, which is 210. And then now we can close the bracket. We have substituted everything there. 2 times 3,142 times 210. I've missed something there. So it must be 2. So you must also check, boys and girls, 3,142. I have missed the radius, so it's supposed to be 22. And then multiply by the height, which is 210. Okay, so the substitution is now correct. And then we say plus, the other part is 2 times 3,142 times our radius is 22, so we say 22 squared. And we close the bracket. Now let us simplify. Simplify part by part. We can simplify the first part, 2,3142. So the first one is 2 times 3.142 times 22 times, sorry, it must be 2 times 3.142 times 22 times 210. So the answer that I'm getting is 29,032,08 plus. Remember, even if you do part by part, you're not supposed to round off until you get to the final answer. So we keep 0.08 as is. Then the other part is 2 times 3.142 times 22 squared. Then this one is 3,041. 3,041,456. Okay, then now we can add 3,041,456 this, and then we say plus that one, so it's plus 29,032,08. So in the end I get 32,073, then it's 536. 32,073,536. Okay, the unit, our unit, everything that we substituted there is in centimeters. So therefore, our area is centimeter squared. So please remember to always show the unit. Okay, that is 32,073,536 is the answer. Okay, then the next question, it's Jim argues that the volume of the rectangular pillar is exactly 15,000 cubic centimeters more than the volume of the cylindrical pillar. Verify, showing all calculations, whether the argument is correct. Give a reason for your answer. Okay, so Jim argues that the volume of the rectangular pillar is exactly 15,000 cubic centimeters more than the volume of the cylindrical pillar. Verify showing all calculations whether the argument is correct. Give a reason for your answer. So when they say it's 15,000 more, okay, so it means the rectangular one is bigger than the cylindrical one by 15,000. Okay, the volume of rectangular pillar is exactly 15,000 cubic centimeters more. So it means it's bigger than the cylindrical by 15,000, by exactly 15,000. So let us do the calculations. Volume of the rectangular pillar is length times breadth times height. So the length is 40, the breadth is 40, and the height is 210. So we can just do the substitution. 40 times 40 times 210. So 40 times 40 times 210. Then I get 336,000. So this is 336,000 and it's cubic centimeters. Okay, then what about the volume of a cylindrical pillar? The volume of the cylindrical pillar, if we just do the substitution, 3,142, then times our radius, it's 22. So it's 22 squared, and multiply by the height, which is 210. Okay, now we can simplify. 3,142 multiplied by 22 squared multiplied by 210. The answer there is 319,000. Okay, 319,352,88. And then that is also cubic centimeter. Okay, we need to check, have we answered the question? That is not completely. We need to check. They say the rectangular pillar is exactly 15,000 cubic centimeters more. So we need to calculate the difference. It means this one, it's more than the other one by 15,000, according to Jim. So let's calculate the difference. So we say difference is 336,000 minus 319,352,88. Okay, so 336,000 minus 319,352,88. Then now we can subtract 336,000 minus 319,352.88. The answer is 16,647,12. Okay, so the unit there is cubic centimeter. Okay, so Jim's argument was the rectangular pillar is exactly 15,000. So it is not exactly 15,000, as you can see that the difference is 16,647. So the question was verify. We have verified all the calculations. So whether the argument is correct, so the argument is incorrect. Then they say give a reason for your answer. So it's because it's not exactly 15,000, but it's 16,647.12. Okay, so we first had to do the calculations, and then after that we calculate the difference so that we can base our argument. Okay, then the reason is it is not exactly 15,000, but it's actually 16,647.12. Okay, so that is the answer for question 6E. These are all the calculations that you had to do. Okay, so this will actually be the level 4. So it's one of those challenging questions. So it means it involves a lot of calculations, and then in the end, you have to substantiate your answer or give a reason, like in this case. Okay, Then question 7. This one was taken from Northwest Prelim Paper 1, September 2020, question 3. So question 7 from Northwest Prelim Paper 1, September 2020. Okay, right. And then the question is, the information that is given there is a cardboard box is used to pack a telescope. Study the diagram below. Okay, it's actually there alongside. Study the diagram alongside and answer the questions that follow. Convert the length of the box to centimeters. Okay, let's see. We've got the length, it's given in millimeters. The height is given in centimeters. The width is given in centimeters. But the question is, or the instruction is convert to centimeters. Now, boys and girls, this is one of those easiest questions. So you just need to know how to convert from a millimeter to a centimeter. Okay. I usually say if you compare centimeters and millimeters, if you look at the edges of any ruler, in most rulers, one edge will be in millimeters and the other one is in centimeters. If you see 1 centimeter on one edge, then on the other side you see 10 millimeters. Okay, if you see 30 centimeters, if a ruler is 30 centimeters and then on the other side or on the other edge where it's in millimeters, you will see 300 millimeters. So what does that mean? It means actually if you want to convert from millimeters to centimeters, you divide by 10. Okay, but if you want to convert from millimeters, if you want to convert from millimeters to centimeters, you're going to divide by 10. So that 1,500 millimeters, we divide it by 10. We say 1,500, we divide it by 10, then it becomes 150 centimeters. Easy, 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 easy. Okay, especially when you do. But you know the method that you learned at your different schools in terms of converting the metric units. Okay, so just ensure that you memorize that method so that you get all the marks that you're supposed to get, especially when we do conversion, the metric units. Okay, then B. Okay, sorry, this is question 7B. It's also taken from Northwest Prelim Paper 1, 2020. Then it's still question 3. This one is to calculate the surface area in square centimeters of the box in which they will pack the telescope. You may use the formula. So we're going to use the formula. Right? We have to do the substitution. Again, very, very important. If you can look at the previous question, you can see that the examiner was actually leading you to the answer. Not necessarily the answer, but he gave you a question that you're going to need in this one. Okay? Like if this one was given, we'll have to check if everything is in the same unit. Okay, and then we'll have to convert. But luckily with this one, we have already converted the 1,500 millimeters we converted to, then we got 150. Okay, so this is 150 centimeters. Then we just do the substitution. They say the answer must be in centimeters squared. It means the length, the breadth, and the height must all be in centimeters. If I do the substitution, it's 2 open bracket. My length is 150. Then my breadth is, okay, remember in this case, width is the same as breadth. Okay, so the breadth there is 28. Multiply by 28. And then we close the bracket. Then plus 2 open bracket. The breadth is 28. Okay, and then the height is 30. Then next one is 2 open bracket. The length is 150 multiplied by the height, which is 30. Good. And then this is the substitution. From this substitution, let us simplify. Remember, you can work out part by part. So for this one, if you say 2, or even if you say 15 multiplied by 28, so it's 15 multiplied by 28, there you get the answer is 420. So this will give us 420, and then we multiply by 2. 840. And for that part, we first say 28 multiplied by 30, or you can say 2 multiplied by 28 multiplied by 30. So 28 by 30 multiplied by 2. So it's 1,680 plus the last one is 150 multiplied by 30. 150 multiplied by 30. So it's 4,500, and the 4,500 we multiply by 2, and this will give us 9,000. Okay, so there's 150 multiplied by 30. Then we got 4,500, but there's 2 of them, so we multiply by 2. So in the end, it's 840 plus 1680 plus 9,000. Then the answer is 11,520. Then it's centimeter squared. Okay, 11,520, and then the answer is now in centimeter squared. Okay, so boys and girls, this will take us to the last question of the day. Then that is still from the very same provincial paper, Northwest. Okay, then they say the Hubble Space Telescope, the largest space telescope ever launched, has an inner volume of 184,2638 cubic meter or meter cubed. The telescope has a diameter of 4,2 meters. Calculate the height of the Hubble Space Telescope. Round your answer to 1 decimal place. You may use the formula. Right, boys and girls, you must know, remember that if you have to calculate, now if you want to remember this, if you want to calculate volume, we always say pi, okay, multiplied by r squared multiplied by height. So in other words, to calculate a volume, you need to know the value of r, the value of height, if you want to calculate volume. Okay, but the examiner can give any two of the three and ask you to find one. Like the examiner can give you the volume and the height and ask you to find the radius, or the examiner can give you the volume and the radius and ask you to find the height. So what is important is you must be able to use or to change the formula, change the subject of the formula. So the easiest one is, if you want to calculate volume, obviously is pi r squared h. If you want to calculate the radius, then you're going to say a radius squared is equals to v over pi h. Okay, sorry. So it's r squared equals to volume over, it must be h, sorry. This must be h. So it must be pi and h. Okay, r squared is equals to r squared, it's v over pi h. So it means in this case, after simplifying this, obviously to find the value of r, you'll have to work out the square root. Okay, what about height? Now, if you want to calculate the height, you're going to say v over pi r squared. Pi r squared. So likely for h doesn't have a square there. So whatever answer that you get after doing the substitution, that will be your answer. Let's see, for this one, what are we supposed to calculate? We're supposed to calculate the height. So we're going to use this formula. Let's see. What is our volume? Our volume is 184,2638 over, what is the value of pi? 3,142. And then what about the radius? The radius, in this case, let's check. The telescope has a diameter of 4,2. So if the diameter is 4,2, so therefore our radius will be 4,2 divided by 2, and this will give us 2.1 meters. Then we just do the substitution, 2.1, and then it's squared. Then you use your calculator. So for your calculator, you say 184.2638 divided by 3.142. And then you open bracket, 2.1, close the bracket, square it. Okay, so it must be 184,2638 divided by 3.142, then open bracket 2.1 squared. So the answer is 13.2. So 13.298 and so on. Okay, what is important is we've got the value, which is about 13, but this 13, what is the unit? So obviously is 13 meters. Okay, but be careful. Let us be careful there. The examiner gave an instruction round your answer to 1 decimal place. So it means there's a mark specifically for rounding. In this case, if you don't round off, you're going to lose the mark. Round your answer to 1 decimal place. So if it's 13.29, we're supposed to keep the 2, but the digit next to it is 5 or more. So this will become 13.3. So 13.3, then it's in meters. Okay, boys and girls, we have now come to the end of our lesson. I hope you have enjoyed the lesson, and then thank you for watching. Okay, thank you for watching this lesson, and please remember the COVID-19 is still out there. We need to take care for ourselves. We still have to sanitize, wear your mask, and maintain a social distancing where possible. Okay, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Goodbye.